Hi guys, welcome. So today is Monday and I do understand that a lot of people will have resistance towards newspaper reading today because you will have a lot of things to start to study, but that is not an excuse for you to skip reading newspapers. Please, under any circumstances, put some time block for you to dedicate your time for newspaper reading. However, welcome to News in 30 Minutes. This initiative is for you to develop interest in newspapers as well as to facilitate your newspaper reading. And today on the 9th of October 2023, let us look at a few important issues. So the first issue is an update of Aditya L1 mission of India. That is the India's first space observatory for the sun. And this particular mission, because there was a update that has been given, this has been in news. So basically, to summarize, what is Aditya's L1 mission? It is India's first space-based observatory. So it is going to be observing the sun. The second, as the name suggests, it is being placed in L1 Lagrange point. As you might have already known, Lagrange points are positions in space where the objects sent there tend to stay put. They tend to stay put. The reason for this is, at Lagrange points, the gravitational pull of two large masses will precisely equal the centripetal force required for the small object to move with them. In a very layman terms, the pull applied by both the bodies at that point will attain equilibrium. So, because at that Lagrange point, there is an equilibrium between the pull of both these large masses, that particular point, the body at that particular point has the ability to stay put. This is Lagrange point. So you have to observe the different Lagrange points that we have, because in UPSC they can ask you L1 lies between sun and earth, or L2 lies between sun and earth. So they can ask you in different statements. So you should have an idea where L1, L2, L3, L4 and L5 falls. So as you can see in the diagram, we are mainly trying to achieve the mission by placing the satellite in the point L1. That is why it is famously called Lagrange L1, Aditya L1 mission. Okay. So however, coming back to the India's Aditya L1 mission. So first, it is the first space-based observatory that will be observing sun. As I told you, the advantage of placing it in L1 Lagrange point is it can carry out the clocking, or it can clock the mapping of the sun round the clock. When I say round the clock, it will not face any type of eclipses, and hence it can map or monitor the sun around the clock. That is an advantage of placing it in the Lagrange points. The next is the objective of the Aditya L1 mission. The objective is mainly to study the sun's corona. The second is to study the solar emissions and solar winds, and most importantly, something called coronal mass ejections. This coronal mass ejections has very high influence on the meteorology as well as the climatology as well as the atmospheric phenomena on Earth. Hence, studying the coronal mass ejections is very crucial if we have to explore deep space, as well as if we have to have satellites that are revolving around Earth. So to have a safe human space exploration, understanding the coronal mass ejections is a very important phenomena. So these are a few points about the Aditya L1 mission. So recently there was a maneuver that had happened recently. Hence, today there has been a news about that particular update. However, the update is, it is healthy and it is on the way for the L1 Lagrange point. So this is regarding the Aditya L1 mission. The next article is a very wonderfully written article that talks about the Namami Ganga program. Now, before the author talks about this program, the author gives just a background of the importance of Ganga basin. This is very important from your GS3 angle, as well as it may help you even in prelims. Now, this author tells Ganga basin. Why is Ganga basin important is because, one, it has an area of 8,60,000 square kilometer. The second is Ganga basin traverses through 11 states. The third is it has around 600 million population. And the fourth is it covers 40% of India's GDP. So these are some important facts that you should know. You should know that of late in prelims, facts are becoming very, very important. That is why when I am explaining different concepts, I am purposely trying to bring a lot of facts so that you are well versed with it and you are familiar with the facts. So when you read it in the prelims exam, you must feel that it is correct, that inner instinct must kick in telling that you have heard this and it makes sense to you. That means that it is correct. So this is the main objective of me trying to bring a lot of facts in this particular initiative. However, this is about the Ganga basin. Very beautifully, this author has summarized this. The author also talks about something called environmental Kuznets curve. Again, first of all, what is Kuznets curve? Okay. Now, Kuznets curve says if I take this as x-axis, and if x-axis is per capita income, and if the y-axis is inequality. If the y-axis is inequality, this is economic terms. Kuznets curve says as the per capita income of a particular country increases, inequality also increases, but there will come a peak. Post that peak, as the per capita increases, the inequality will decrease. You're seeing this. So this is Kuznets curve on economic dimension. Okay. So with the increase in per capita income, initially the inequality increases, but over a period of time it will flip, and with the increase of per capita income, inequality will reduce. In the same manner, environmental Kuznets curve is if x-axis is per capita income and y-axis is environmental degradation. The Kuznets curve says initially as the per capita increases, environmental degradation increases, but over a period of time, though the per capita income increases, the environmental degradation will decrease. So this is another concept that is introduced in this article called All Ants on the Deck for Namami Ganga. Now, apart from these two concepts that this author tells, this author also concentrates on the program called Namami Ganga program. So very beautifully, the author has summarized the Namami Ganga program. The author says Namami Ganga program is launched or was launched in 2014, and it basically has 5 pillars. Now what you can do is, one, you can replicate the 5 pillars when they ask you suggestions on how to improve the river basins in different areas. It need not be always in Ganga, but what you can do is you can take this and replicate in different answers. As well as in prelims, there are very high chances that they can ask you directly what are these 5 pillars or what does each pillar mean. Correct? So Namami Ganga basically is based on 5 pillars. The first is Nirmal Ganga. The second is Aviral Ganga. The third is Arth Ganga, ARTH. Pardon my handwriting. Arth Ganga. Fourth is Jan Ganga, and the fifth is Gyan Ganga. Okay, so these are the 5 pillars of Namami Ganga. Nirmal Ganga basically means clean. Nirmal means clean. Obviously, this particular pillar is mainly focusing on reducing pollution. Okay, how do we do it? By sewage treatment, by riverfront development, by having solid waste management. So through this, Nirmal Ganga is nothing but clean or reducing the pollution in river Ganga and its tributaries. The next is Aviral Ganga. Aviral basically means continuous. So this is mainly to have a proper ecological flow within the river. Okay, minimum ecological flow is very, very important for the survival of aquatic ecosystem within the river. So this is what is the concentration of Aviral Ganga. The next is Arth Ganga. Arth means wealth. So how to monetize different assets in the Ganga basin? It can be the assets like natural farming. It can be assets like markets along ghats. It can be assets like tourism and cultural heritage. It can also be monetization of sludge as well as wastewater in the Ganga basin. So all this is nothing but turning the assets within the Ganga into wealth, right? So this is Earth Ganga, and the next is Jan Ganga. Jan Ganga is basically promoting public participation. And the last is Gyan Ganga, that is developing knowledge about the Ganga basin. Correct? So these 5 put together is what we call as Namami Ganga program. So this article has explained very beautifully about the Namami Ganga program, and that person has also given or summarized what exactly is the important significance of Ganga basin. So I hope this particular issue is cleared from exam perspective. Okay, so this is about it. The next is article that says coal-fired power plants are slow in adopting technology to curb sulfur emissions. Okay, so why is this in news is because Ministry of Environment and Climate Change has told that there has been breach of deadline. The MOEFCC has been increasing the deadline for these coal-powered or coal-fired power plants to adopt something called flue gas desulphurization technology. Okay, that is known as FLD technology. So MOEFCC had given deadlines for all the coal-fired power plants to adopt this FLD technology. However, very less thermal power plants have been adopting it. Hence, the deadlines are constantly being breached, and hence it has been in news. What you should understand is, one, in India, more than 50% of the electricity is generated from thermal power plants, and these thermal power plants are coal-fired power plants. That is the first one. The second thing you should know is, after Russia, India is the second largest. Okay, India is the second largest emitter or producer of sulfur gas. India is the second largest emitter of sulfur gas. Okay, and we also know WHO statistics. As you can see here, WHO also estimates that 4.2 million people die globally per year because of sulfur emissions. Okay, so we have 4.2 million deaths also as another factor, and hence to stop this menace, we know that in India, we release SOx and NOx, that is sulfur as well as nitrous oxide. These two gases are released enormously from our power plants. Hence, the government, in order to reduce these emissions from the power plants, they are bringing up different technologies. Okay, and one such technology is FLD technology. This is mainly to curb sulfur emissions. Okay, however, the adaptation in these power plants are very minimal, and that is the reason you are seeing this particular article. All right, so this is about the FLD technology, that is flue gas desulphurization technology, being adopted in the coal-based power plants. I hope this is clear. All right, the next article. The next article says gold can add glitter to your portfolio festive season. Okay, in this article, the article itself is not important, but in the article there are several concepts that may be important for your exam. The first is gold. They say when we go and buy gold, first we have to check the BIS hallmark. Okay, it is the Bureau of Indian Standards hallmark, and then you have to check if it is 22 carat. Okay, so what exactly is this 22 carat? This carat basically signifies purity of gold. And whenever we say it is 22 carat, it means that the purity levels of this particular gold is 91.6%. Okay, so pure carat means purity, and 22 carat means the percentage is 91.6%. So that is one concept that you should know. The second is a concept called gold exchange traded funds. Okay, what is this gold exchange traded funds? Basically, exchange traded funds are working as mutual funds. They work as mutual funds, and the only thing is these funds will always be backed by a certain asset. Okay, the assets can be some basket of companies, the asset can be some group of industries. However, when you say gold ETFs are also mutual funds. They are also backed by assets, but here the assets that it is backing is basically gold. Okay, so gold ETFs are open-ended mutual funds which invest in gold. That is as simple as this particular gold ETFs. The third concept that you should know is sovereign gold bonds. Okay, the government came up with sovereign gold bonds as a means for Indian people who have a lot of appetite in investing for gold to invest in this, paper format of gold rather than physical gold. Now, what is the advantage of doing this sovereign gold bonds? First of all, you should understand, but sovereign gold bonds are nothing but government securities. These are government securities that are issued by the RBI on behalf of the government of India. That is the first point. They act as government securities issued by RBI on behalf of government of India. Hence, their safety is much higher. The risk is very less. The next is these sovereign gold bond are relatively at an advantaged place compared to physical gold because they are free from making charges as well as purity. Okay, you don't have to worry about the purity as well as you don't have to pay extra for the making charges. Okay, now the tenure of sovereign gold bond is 8 years. That is one. The next is you get 2.5% interest per annum. This is the interest that you get, and this interest is paid 1.25% half yearly. Okay, that is for every 6 months you get 1.25% interest. Now, another advantage is long-term capital gain tax. Capital gain tax. You don't have long-term capital gain tax for the sovereign gold bond itself for the increase in the value of gold for the period of 8 years. However, the tax is applied only on the interest that is received. So, except the interest, the value of the gold that increases over a period of 8 years, you will not have any type of long-term capital gains tax. So, these are some of the advantages of sovereign gold bonds. It can be brought online through banks, online banking through HDFCs or PNB, SBI, ICICI, Canara Bank. It can also be brought in designated post offices of RBI as well as in stock exchanges. So this is the information about sovereign gold bonds. So I hope you got the difference of what sovereign gold bonds are, what gold exchange traded funds are, which are nothing but mutual funds that are backed by assets such as gold. It tracks the value of gold, and on the basis of that, the value of that mutual fund fluctuates. The next is gold as such. What do you mean by 22 carat? So that is the objective of giving this particular presentation. The next issue is Asian Games. Our sports minister says that it is a watershed moment for Indian sports. Let us see why. Asian Games 2023 was a very successful campaign. We had a aim of mission 100 to get 100 medals in the Asian Games 2023. We ended up getting 107 medals. Okay, that's a very good news. So in this 107 medals, gold we have 28, silver we have 38, and bronze we have 41. So this is the medals tally. In the exam recently, the different sports have become very important. There are a lot of factual information that's being asked. Hence, you should have some idea about this particular Asian Games, especially because sports minister has iterated these facts. I am also giving you these facts. Okay. So the first fact is this is 107 medals that we have won in Asian Games 2023. This is one of the highest in 60 years. That is one of the achievements. It has been the highest medal tally of India in the last 60 years. The second fact that our sports minister says that for the first time we have won in 16 first medals categories. That is, for the first time we have won in 16 different categories in which India has never won before. India has never won before any medals in those categories, and that is around 16 new categories where India has won medals. That is again a very proud moment. The third is another proud moment is women have contributed to 50% of the medals. As you know, women in science, example is ISRO. Women in organ donation, example is Ayushman Bhav campaign. Now women in sports, if you take the Asia Games 2023, have done a tremendous job and they are achieving different feat in different sectors. So this is another achievement in itself. The Sports Minister of India also iterated that the programs, the two important programs, that is Target Olympic Podium Scheme as well as Khelo India scheme. Both these schemes have been tremendously successful. Now this Target Olympic Podium scheme, at this current juncture, has almost 285 athletes. It has almost 285 athletes. It started out with just 20-30 athletes. Now Target Olympic Podium scheme is a complete sponsorship which gives a dedicated physiotherapist, a dedicated coach, foreign coach as also, a dedicated foreign, abroad training camps where the person can go and acclimatize as well as learn different skills. So it is a huge high budget scheme where you are targeting for that Olympic podium, and this has been successful and it has increased the basket of athletes from mere 40-50 to currently 285 athletes. So one, he stresses that this has been very successful. The second is Khelo India scheme. This Khelo India scheme is basically an intense talent search. It is an intense talent search and nurturing program. So this talent search and nurturing program has been successful. Again, the sports minister gives the statistics that out of the total 651 Asian Games athletes, out of the 651 Asian Games athletes, 124 athletes were from Khelo India. That is, Khelo India almost had 1/6 of the athletes who participated in Asian Games. That is again a proud moment, and that shows the efficacy of the proper implementation of Khelo India scheme. So all this points out that it is a watershed movement for Indian sports, and these sports ecosystem within India has improved tremendously to compete at the global stage. So that is the Asian Games 2023. All right. So this is the issue. The next issue, as you people know, is the Hamas of Gaza who have attacked, the terrorists who have, entered Israel on the day of Sabbath, which is a day of festival for the Jewish population of Israel. And these terrorists have, created a lot of chaos and have, killed many Israelis in their own region. Now, what is the background context of all this? We will not get into the entire depth of it, but I am just going to give you some background. If you see Israel, you can see Israel currently. Now, Israel, it has two parts. On this side is West Bank, and on this side, as you can see, is Gaza. Okay, so West Bank and Gaza basically are controlled by Palestinians, and Israel is basically Jewish population. Okay, so the Jewish population in Israel are constantly in tussle with the Palestinians. It is basically a war for land. There's a clash for land ownership. However, what and how it started is not important currently. So what happened is West Bank and Gaza basically are handled by Palestinians. The West Bank is handled by Al-Fatah and the Gaza is handled by Hamas. So what happened is, from Gaza, these terrorists were able to intrude into Israel. They were able to intrude and they were able to create a lot of attacks in different places of Israel. And now, because they were able to intrude and create chaos, the terrorist attack, the Israel is now trying to counter these attacks as well as hit on Gaza. Okay, so if you observe, look at this map. This map is in today's Hindu paper, and as you can see, I'm going to just map out the Gaza Strip. This is the Gaza Strip. Okay, now the Gaza Strip is handled by Hamas, and as you can see, there are a lot of places in news that have been given in this particular diagram. Don't try to by heart these names, just know or be familiar with these names. It doesn't come in 1 or 2 days, just keep looking at it over a period of time. However, places in news are important and you should have an idea or familiarity with these places. So just have a look at these places, and as you can see, these these Hamas gunmen, okay, were able to enter all these places. Okay, they were able to attack these places. Okay, and this is an unfortunate event. So background of this, what is this Hamas, the entire this operation of Hamas is known as Tufan al-Aqsa. Okay, that is the mission that they have carried out, the terrorist attack, and this is being compared to the 1973 war that is known as Yom Kippur War. Yom Kippur is again a festival of Israel. Even during the festival there was an attack in 1973. So this particular war is being compared to Yom Kippur War, as it has been 50 years that Yom Kippur War had taken place. And from Yom Kippur War, it took 6 years for something called Camp David Treaty, a peace treaty, to be done with Israel. Now with this Tufan al-Aqsa, there is a new war that is created by Hamas in the realm of West Asia. Now how many years will it take in order to generate peace is another debate. However, two things what you should know is, you have to know some militia in this West Asia. One is Hamas, that is in Gaza Strip. Another is Hezbollah. Okay, this Hezbollah is again another terrorist militia that is there in Lebanon. And then you have Houthis. Okay, these Houthis are there, HOU. Okay, Houthis, these are militia in Yemen. So these are all some militia that are there in news. Also, what you should know is, what is the reason for this attack? There are different theories. However, Israel relationship with West Asia, okay, Israel's relationship with West Asia has been improving. It has been improving because of Abraham Accords. Abraham Accords was a treaty that was signed between Israel with UAE and Qatar. Okay, so there was good ties between Israel's as well as UAE and Qatar. Along with Abraham Accords, there was also Israel Saudi Arabia normalization. So Israel was also trying to have good ties with Saudi Arabia. Now these were all countries that previously had supported Palestinians for their independence. Now the Palestinians felt that their purpose is being lost because of the normalization of Israel's relationship in West Asia. Hence they could have done this attack as a resurgence of their purpose, so that on the world scale people will still again start realizing their existence. That may be one of the theory. However, what is important is, what is the consequence of India because of this attack? The consequence of India because of this attack is, one, the increase in oil price. The second is the impact on diaspora. The third is the impact on India, Middle East, Europe economic corridor. And the fourth is the impact on groupings like I2U2, because in I2U2 you have UAE, you have Israel, both together. So what will be the future of I2U2 like groupings? So these are some of the consequences of what can happen for India because of such disturbances in Israel. So I hope this is the brief preview of what has happened in Israel, which is very unfortunate. Okay, so the next is Afghan earthquakes kill 2,000 people, as the Taliban say, which is another unfortunate event. See, Afghan is a region that constantly is subjected to earthquakes. The reason is, Afghanistan is a country that is located in a plate boundary. It is located in the junction of Arabian plate, Indian plate and Eurasian plate. Okay, it is located in the junction of Arabian plate, Indian plate and Eurasian plate. Okay, and Afghanistan, as seen, this news is basically a earthquake of magnitude of 6.3. This is the magnitude in Richter scale. Now unfortunately what has happened is, after this main shock, this is called the main shock. Okay, now after this main shock, there has been 8 aftershocks. Now this is another unfortunate event. After main shock, there has been 8 aftershocks. This has been of the magnitude of around 4.2. So this has again created a lot of casualties on top of the damage that is done. One thing what you should realize is why Afghanistan is more vulnerable is because most of their dwellings are made up of mud bricks. So these mud bricks can collapse with even minor shivering of the land. Okay. One more thing is, what is this aftershock? See, what you should know is, whenever there is a main shock, what is earthquake? Earthquake is shivering of the land. Whenever the shivering of the land happens, the crust is displaced. So post the main shock, the crust gets displaced. After displacement, the crust will try to readjust. And during the time of readjustment, there can be some rocks that break, and when these rocks break, they produce aftershocks. That is the reason why you see aftershocks. So aftershocks mainly come after the main shock, and second, aftershocks will have lesser magnitude compared to the main shock, but there are instances, there is examples where aftershocks have been even more greater magnitude compared to the main shock. So don't think that always aftershocks has lesser magnitude compared to the main shock. Okay. So however, this is about the Afghan earthquake. The reason it happened is because it's a plate boundary, and it has happened to the west of Hindu Kush mountain ranges. To the west of Hindu Kush mountain ranges. Okay, near the province of Herat. Okay, so this is an very unfortunate event again. The next is, the center uses 1955 Act to grant citizenship as CAA, Citizenship Amendment Act, is yet to take off. You should know that the CAA, Citizenship Amendment Act, was passed in 2019. It is basically to provide Indian citizenship to prosecuted minorities. Okay, prosecuted minorities from Afghanistan, Bangladesh and Pakistan. And these prosecuted minorities include Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, Parsis, Christians as well as Buddhists. So it is basically non-Muslims. So you should have an idea about this Constitutional Amendment Act. So what is happening, though the Constitutional Amendment Act is passed, the rules are yet to be framed. And because the rules are yet to be framed, the government is using Citizenship Act of 1955. The government using the same Citizenship Act 1955 to grant citizenship to foreigners who are also prosecuted minorities. So the point of debate is, why are you granting it via Citizenship Act 1955 when there is an act dedicated to prosecuted minorities in the form of CAA? Correct. So the government is telling, one, it needs more time to frame the rules as it is a very complex phenomenon. The second, one more thing the center informs is, the power to grant Indian citizenship has been delegated. The power to grant citizenship has been delegated to district collectors as well as home secretaries of the state. Okay, so these are the people who have the power to now grant the citizenship. So the government is asked for more time for the CAA to kick in. Until then, the government says that the citizenship will be granted from Citizenship Act of 1955. So this is the issue that is happening. You should have an idea about both the acts, the Citizenship Act of 1955, how foreigners can can get access to Indian citizenship in different ways, that you should learn, and also you should learn some of the important provisions of Citizenship Amendment Act 2019. So these are some of the issues of today. So I hope you learned these issues. The basic way how to map the issues when you're reading a newspaper, if it is important for the exam, is to always compare the article's subject with the syllabus subject. If there is a topic that you're reading in the article which matches with the topic that is given in the syllabus, that means that it is very important for your exam. This is how you map your newspaper articles with the relevance to the exam. So I hope it helped, guys, and I hope you got to know some new value additions in your current affairs. Please, if you like it, please like, share and subscribe. The more you do it, the more motivated I am to do it on a regular basis. Thank you so much. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Bye. you.